Right, let's start with a bit of an argument. Let's stir things over, me and you, Clayton, because I want to talk about sales reps. Sales reps have been visiting our branches, and it's tough for retail and it's tough for sales reps, and they are feeling the pinch. NI, you have business rates more than doubling. You have all sorts of input prices going up, and these sales reps acknowledge that it's pretty tough at the minute. Now, you in the past have said that sales reps could be done without in the pet industry, because you could arguably send me, people like me, a bunch of products every 6 months, or every 3 months, and I can put them out and see if they sell. And if they sell, I can just reorder from you. Whereas I think they actually can be a bit of a comforting ear to a lot of retailers and a lot of people who, you have a bit of a chinkwag with, and they you have coffee with, and you talk about how things are going, and you talk about trends. Or I feel bad for these people, and I was thinking about it the other day. Like, if we were to lose a lot of sales reps, I mean, Bud in a Box don't have sales reps, so it's already happened. This has already happened, and a lot of big companies, they do not have sales reps. Now, there's a lot of others that do have sales reps, and you can feel the pain in their faces. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, my argument for sales reps isn't that they're of no use. Like, it's more that there's a lot of poor sales reps, and they're expensive. And even if you've got one that's on, let's say, a lower wage, that doesn't negate how much it costs to run their car, and visit you. And like I say, each sales rep call, I think I worked out a while back, it was like 60 quid a call, something like that. I think I worked out it too when I was doing it. And so you have to be good, because £60 a call, every call you make, it's a lot of money. And so you have to show value. You have to have a return on investment, because that's what we're in the business for. We're in the business to make a return on investment. We're not in it to make people, happy with a chat. Because if you want to chat, give me a call. I'll do it for a tenner, not even 60 quid. You know what I mean? So, but I do think good sales reps are still worth having, and a good sales rep will get you into a shop, which you wouldn't have got into any other way. But those sales reps are relatively few and far between, in my opinion. And that's just me being slightly harsh, but I do think there's some very good sales reps out there, but I think there's a lot which aren't good enough at their job to warrant the cost base that they incur.
Is it incumbent upon companies who employ these sales reps to teach them how to do things? So a bit of an anecdote from a sales rep that I met 2-3 weeks ago. Lovely guy, not going to name them. But he was actually visiting another pet store. It was quite big. And the assistant... No, the owner of the company actually recommended a pet product which had gone into grocery, and did a transaction with the customer, blah, blah, blah. And then the sales rep asked the lady, why do you recommend that product? Why do you sell that product? And she was like, oh, well, it's just what I do. I don't know. I didn't think twice about it. And he was like, do you not think that customer is going to leave here, is going to see that same product in Sainsbury's, and I've just seen it in Sainsbury's, and they're not going to come back here? And the lady literally went, wow, that's invaluable. That's such good information. I can build a business on that nugget of information. If I can only stock products that people can buy from me, or that are limited in supply and that aren't available everywhere, I can actually retain a lot of my custom, and I can actually get people to come back, which coincidentally is what the guy said many, many years ago when I first started out and I didn't really know much about the pet industry. They said, what you want is a returning customer. That's it. Forget everything else. And I was like, no, that's interesting. So is it incumbent upon the companies who hire these sales reps to maybe have nuggets of information instead of sales reps coming into shops and just flogging products? Yeah. We have this, and this. Like, no one really cares about what you have. Tell me about what I need to do to make more money or to retain more customers.
A good sales rep will educate you, like, in an advanced way on their products and on why you should be selling their products, and how you sell their products. Because look, when you buy from a wholesaler, for example, you buy something like pumpkin powder, let's say, for example, a supplement. There's nothing really telling you under what circumstances you should sell that product, but the sales rep should be the guy who comes in and says, right, pumpkin powder, it's a great prebiotic. So if you've got a dog with a bad stomach, it's a good way of building up the gut microbiome. It's also a great source of fiber. So if you've got a dog that needs more nutrients from its diet, it will slow it down through its tract, so more will be absorbed. That's how you sell the product. If I just said pumpkin powder, it's good. Do you know what I mean? I'll do you a good deal on it. Like, it's normally like a tenner a tub, but you buy a box load of them, I'll give them to 8, you know? And that's for, like, the different kinds of sales, but we're not selling Coca-Cola, you know, like, and if that is the deal to sell Coca-Cola, I can do that from my office. I can just phone you up and say, hey, Sam, I've got a load of cheap, like, you normally pay a tenner, buy a box load, I'll give it to you for £8. I don't need to see you to do that. I can do that I can do it on an email. I could do like put 100 email addresses on there, blind CC them all, and then just ping it out. You know, I mean, I don't need to pay someone £60 a drop to go in and do that. What I need them to do is go in and sell what I sell, and tell people why they need it, and tell people why they should buy it, and also why their customers should buy it. And if that person can do all of those things, they become worth the money very easily. But the problem is there's so many who don't. And this is where the issue is that people are going to pet stores and they're only thinking about, they don't understand, let's say you're selling dog food, they don't understand nutrition, they don't understand their ingredient list, they don't understand what the ingredients in their products do. Like, you should be an expert on all this stuff before you walk in the store. Because if I pull out, this is my range of 10, 15, 20 SKUs, I can tell you exactly why all of these sell. And I can also be honest and say, this is an unusual sell because this is a, you know, like slippery elm, for example, say, well, if your dog's got acid reflux, it's brilliant for that. It's also a probiotic, but I only really recommend probiotics for dogs that actually have the problem at the time as a short-term fix, whereas I would actually recommend, as a more regular use thing, something like a prebiotic like pumpkin powder. But, like, you know, like selling people, sell it in this circumstance, don't sell it in that circumstance, but in this circumstance you can sell this. That's when it becomes valuable. But the problem is these people aren't educated enough. And yeah, it's down to the companies. But then I've seen these training videos from the companies which go out to the big corporates. And there's some very big brands who have got very decent sized businesses selling good quality products, whose training videos which they send out to the corporates selling their products are genuinely crap. Like, really bad, like really uninformative, full of misinformation, like bad information. And you're just like, God, the people at the top don't know what they're doing half the time. And so how is that going to filter through to the guy at the bottom? So the guy at the bottom can often be on a losing deal before he starts, and it's not his fault. And, like, that's what I'm saying is, even though I'm being harsh with a lot of sales reps and saying a lot of them ain't worth the money, I'm not blaming them particularly. A lot of the time it's to do with the fact they're not being trained properly. But then I'm also blaming some of them. But generally speaking, it can be the training, you know.
And do you think that a lot of them would benefit from learning a bit more about maybe like merchandising and, you know, layouts and the challenges that the retailer might be facing or whatever? Because once again, like I get hit like from everywhere with sales reps and products. You have no idea, especially with the channel. It's insane. People hitting me on LinkedIn like all the time, and through the videos and through emails, and then people knock on the door and people phone up and try to flog products and stuff. And I'm like, hey, like, you're all trying to hard sell, and that's just not the way the world works anymore. This was okay 20 years ago, but now we are in the era, in my opinion, of education based marketing, where everything you do has to be about educating the customer. So if I am your customer, you have to educate me and be like, Sam, why are you displaying things like this? Are you out of your mind? Or why are you stocking this? You shouldn't, because someone else is stocking it, or whatever the case might be. But a lot of these people just go for the hard sell. Oh, we've got this. Boom, sell it.
Yeah. Look, the merchandising is a really, really interesting thing, actually, because one of the most common conversations I have with brands is when they're developing ranges, imagine it, always keeping in mind the merchandising aspect of that, because it's so important to the long-term sales. Like, yourself, if you've got, let's say you've got, like, so for example, one of the things I did was Healthy Paws, right? Like their range of oils. And they were like, well, the salmon oil, it's hard to compete against. There's so many cheap salmon oils and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it doesn't matter. If you've got a range of oils, people will look at that when it's merchandised properly and go, which oil should I have, not which salmon oil should I buy? Because you're looking and you're going, well, there's like some guy's salmon oil here, and that's all they've got on the shelf. Or you've got this nice range where all of them are listed out with all the different benefits. And then it's much more pleasing to the eye. It gives you a much better feeling about that company. It makes you feel like the company's doing it properly, as opposed to some guy who's just, I've got like a big tub of salmon, I'm squirting into little bottles, And again, merchandising is so important, and I see merchandising done badly in stores a lot. And a lot of that is to do with the companies that are serving them and the sales reps that are serving them. Because when you sell people products, you should always try and insist on the range and the meterage, rather than just, I like 2 out of 10 of these products. But if you say, well, but if we had the 10 together, they would all sell, and I'll do you a deal so that you have the 10. And if they go out of date, I'll take back the ones that go out of date, or something like that. Because having a range is so important for your customers in terms of selection. Like, so when I was a kid, my parents had a pet shop, and we had one of the biggest ranges of collars, leads, and harnesses in London at that time. And we had, like, I don't know, it was literally hundreds of types of collars, leads, and harnesses. But I could have told you that probably only 10% of those sold regularly. But if I just had those 10% on the shelf, they wouldn't have sold, because people would want to come, they want to look at your whole range and go, oh yeah, well there's this and there's this. Like the fact that like everybody will veer towards a couple of those products rather than the 8 to 10 products, they feel comfortable because the 8 to 10 are there. And so I think it's incumbent on companies, when they create ranges, to have a merchandisable range which looks coherent on the shelf. So it creates a sense of so when people look at it, they go, that makes sense. And then it's like, which one should I buy for myself?
Yeah, and actually another thing that this very same sales rep told me once, he was talking about like pricing tiers, and I'm like, wow, like no one else has brought that up. He was like, well, you've got a really expensive one, you've got this, and this would fit here, here, and here. And then he was talking about how good the bag looked on the shelf. He was like, the bag looks $1 million on the shelf, and blah blah blah. And he was right. Whether you buy the product or not, that's a different thing. But that's a very, very valuable thing to say to a retailer. Hey, the bag is going to stand out, and it's got these benefits, and you can talk about like pricing tiers and blah blah blah. And I just think that, yeah, if they are trained properly, I mean, these people are like really, really good weapons to have against your competitors.
Yeah, and look, this is half my issue with the GA type products. Like, is that it looks crap on the shelf, and like, just from a consumer's perspective, a wall of dog food that is varied, branded, makes sense, looks good, is so important, and that like I think that like I went into the shop the other day, and the only dry dog food they sold other than a small amount of Burns and Hills was their own, and it was 3 different manufacturers they were using. It was like GA, Perro, Dodson, and it was all. It just looked like shit, man. It just looks like, and you have to think from the consumer's perspective when they walk in and they're just like, this is a load of bags with stickers on. It just looks like shit. And like, you can stand behind your dog food, and no doubt the dog food's better or is good, bad. I don't know. It's probably great dog food, but it doesn't matter. It looks like shit. And like, from a consumer's perspective, if you walked in, to any other type of shop, and you just put yourself in that person's shoes and say, right, well, I've walked into Holland and Barrett, and all they've got is a load of products with stickers on it that look like crap. You're just not going to be. I mean, you can have a little bit of it. It's fine to have a bit. It's fine to have 1 or 2 of these products. That's fine, because it can be kind of rusticy and it's it's cheaper or whatever. But you can't have a shop full of it. It just looks awful.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, let us know, should we do away with sales reps in the pet industry? If you are a sales rep and you work within the industry, let us know what you bring to the table. And if you are a manufacturer or a partner, what can you do, or what do you do with your sales reps to train them? And do you get anything